Happy Sunday, 1 October 2023, as of filming this, in the city of Shoreline, King County, Washington State, United States of America. We have a very sunny day. I'll show you. Beautiful weather, blue sky. And I'm going to talk about my biography and autobiography writing philosophy. So that's kind of how I approach writing biography and autobiography related works. So that could be contributions to an online encyclopedia, book form, and or multimedia documentation of events in a person's life. So that could be handwritten notes, that could be journal entries, that could be photos, that could be videos, that kind of thing. So that's an introduction about what this video is about. This is kind of a starting point, and my approach in philosophy here is treating this video as a starting point as opposed to like a culminating point of my philosophy, because if I wrote and published books, be it biography and or autobiography, I would guess my philosophy in actually completing and publishing the work and getting feedback might change a little bit. So, viewing this as a starting point. So, and maybe this is as far as it progresses, but maybe not. So, let's start with what philosophy means in this context. So, in this context of writing or creating biographical and autobiographical works, philosophy for me means how I think about creating whatever I'm creating. Simple. Up first, biography. So a biography is something written about somebody else. So I am the biographer to a biography, spelled with 2 E's, and then the work itself, like a book, would be spelled with a Y at the end. So I'm talking about my approach to the biography, and as in the final work, be it written or photographed or videographed or whatever. So I would say the core of my philosophy, at least at this point in time, is I should actually put the date in the video title for this. See if it does change. Approach it differently instead of like, yeah, there we go. And then if someday I reach some like really stable and I've published a book or something, then I can do my biography and autobiography writing philosophy as like a culmination point as opposed to a starting point for the title of the video. So I guess that's a YouTube specific. But biography is largely me, my core principle here is treatment of the biography. So what's spelled with 2 E's, so the person I'm writing about. And I treat it as do not write, do not document, do not make anything that I would not do for myself. And so it's like I have been mistreated and bullied and harassed and discriminated against, and I do not enjoy it. And so essentially what I do when I write about somebody or create something about somebody is I'm not going to do this list of things that bothers me or I think might bother me if I were in that setting, so I'm going to refrain. And sometimes it actually takes publishing to know, you know what? I don't like that phrasing. And I think online encyclopedia writing has been very enlightening to how the publishing process can change or fine-tune my perspective to, even if it's just a sentence or a sentence structure, be like, okay, I like it like this, and then I publish it and like put in the surroundings, or like all of a sudden it's like, whoosh, I really don't like that wording, or that really just no. And I did not know that before I pressed publish. So that is my philosophy, is it's very biography as in person. I am documenting, writing about, photographing, whatever centric. So, and for photography, I would say it's my friends, teammates really kind of pushed me to make a Facebook account back in I made my account in 2007. My Tanis Coralee Leonhardi account. And people really liked the pictures I took. I started taking pictures when I was like 5 years old, approximately, and haven't really stopped since. And so one of the feedbacks I've gotten over the years is like, we'll make goofy pictures, but then there's also like people are like, but just because there's a goofy picture doesn't mean I want that to be like what everybody sees. So maybe keep it private, just to friends or friends of friends. So I'll have people give feedback in my everyday life about permissions. And so essentially, like, we can take the 2012 Pac-12 swimming and diving championships, both men and women's, for example, is when I was there. I was like, treat everything super serious, super professional, no goofy photos, and if I get a goofy photo, don't publish it. And so that's what I did, was taking real life feedback about the kind of documentation I did have, and I have done throughout the course of my life, be it for people and or animals or plants or whatever, and kind of roll it into being very considerate of, in writing about somebody, they have feelings. I want them to be doing well. I don't want them to get hurt because of what I'm doing. And then I want to present them in a true to them context. And sometimes what happens with like a goofy photo, for example, is people only remember the goofy photo, and it's like they were goofy once, on one day. So, once every 300 days they're goofy. It's kind of, then people remember it distorted, and since they can't autocorrect or correct for that distortion of their memory space, don't include a goofy photo because it distorts the person's image. Okay. And my goal with a biography philosophy is I want my biography to feel empowered that they could write an autobiography about themselves. Okay. Which gets me to the next and last category, autobiography philosophy. So this actually, I have shown before on this channel, one of my middle school yearbooks where I wrote a one-page autobiography. And in my book of poems, the first book I wrote back in when I was like 9 years old, I wrote an about the author page. So autobiography is something I've always wanted to do, and have done in some form or another. And I seriously started pursuing it in this, like, actually thinking through, if I were to write a book or autobiography about my life, how would I do it? And so autobiography here is a written work about oneself versus a biography is about somebody else. Okay. So I started in earnest after in October 2014, I fell backwards, hit my head, and got long-term amnesia. And so actually the spur for actually being like, let me actually sit down and write out the names for these books. How would I treat it as like a multi-volume thing, and like write down, I have in one of my journals, I have not in a bin somewhere, it's actually easier to access. I have written down, like, if I were to write out like my life in multiple volumes in one collective like autobiography, what would the names, how would I segment it, what years would I segment it, what would the name of each book be? And so I started working on stuff like that back in 2015, started actually thinking about it and bringing that into existence in 2017, if none other than publishing very YouTube specific videos on this YouTube channel. I started treating this and Yelp and LinkedIn as kind of autobiographical. That was my, like, not my sole purpose, but yes, my sole purpose. If you read the mission and vision statement on the About tab for this channel, it's me, right? It's a sharing my life and living it when it happens kind of thing. So it is very about autobiography, and it was very much spurred by the loss of, like, pretty much like all memories before I was 17 years old. And I'm getting them back, right? It's slow and ongoing. It's approximately 9 years later, and I don't have everything back, but I do have a lot back. And documenting what I'm doing, like what my life is currently, helps in not losing the new memories as well. So that one is my philosophy there is, well, I get my memories back, but document. I'd say if there's like one core principle there, it's document, and be okay to be creative, even if it's documenting my life with a drawing or something that happened with a drawing, for example. And would I want to put a drawing in my autobiography? Would I want to depict something that happened in my biography's life with a drawing as opposed to a picture, for example? So thinking about, just because I take a form of documentation doesn't mean that's the documentation that would make it into a final, culminating, published work, for example. Okay. All right. So in conclusion, that's where I am for my biography and autobiography writing philosophy as of today, Sunday, 1 October 2023. It'd be interesting to see if it progresses and how it progresses, and if it does, do I end up giving like 6 straight weeks, 5 days a week of lectures on my biography and autobiography writing philosophy? If I wrote like 20 or 30 biographies and autobiographies, but that might warrant it. The Tanis lectures, how to write my philosophy on biography and autobiography writing. And it might become just my biography and autobiography philosophy, because I can do stuff other, like picture taking and stuff. But currently the center is kind of writing. Even with my photos and videos, there's supporting text that goes with it. So the focus here is still writing, so that's true. It'd be interesting if it evolved to be just philosophy. Okay, so that's the conclusion. Happy Sunday as of filming. Happy day of viewing, time of viewing, place of viewing, wherever and whenever you are viewing this.